Why was Ambulance made? Well, that was a question I asked myself when I was watching this movie. It's Tech, and this is GVN. Let's rock. Hey, what's up? Welcome to the channel. This is GVN. You know how it is. We review movies, series, comics, animations, and video games here on the channel. And it's me, Tech. Now, Ambulance is that movie that looked like it would have a lot of action. And why did I say that? I mean, yes, there's the trailer, right? But there's also Michael Bay. Now, I don't know if you guys remember the song New Divide by Linkin Park. Dun, 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 dun. Why did I do all of that? It's very iconic. It's very, very iconic. It's from the Transformers franchise. Now, Transformers is one that many of us from the early 2000s to 2010s onwards will remember watching. It was just so dope. I remember watching it and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the first part, the second part. I think the second part is still my favorite of all, and then the third part. But as it continued, the story seemed to just keep going all over the place. But one thing that was sure, one thing that you would get was the bombastic action, explosions left and right. And that is something that Michael Bay still delivers in this one. So, the story follows these two brothers, Danny and Will, played by Gyllenhaal and Yahya Abdul-Mateen the second, are adoptive brothers in this movie. And that is a bond that, initially when you see a white kid and a black kid, you're like, yes, they are most likely not from the same parent. And many people will try to, play on that. But this is one that I could tell from the entire movie that these brothers actually truly, truly do love each other. But clearly they've taken different paths in their life. One took the right path of the law and being an upstanding citizen, is a Marine, ex-Marine, while the other one took the streets. And it sort of tracks with their father because their father used to be a criminal too. But then in this case, we see that he needs money for his wife because she's dying of cancer. And there's an experimental treatment that his insurance doesn't cover. So he goes to see his brother because he needs a loan. This is a brother whom, yes, even though they have a good relationship, sort of, they don't keep in touch often because he knows the kind of life his brother lives and he doesn't want to be a part of it. Teenage me would have enjoyed a lot more compared to present me because it was like there was action, but there was no plan. That was it. It's the kind of stuff that you'd ask yourself, haven't these people seen Money Heist or any heist movie? You should always have a plan. But honestly, this was more about the action and the moments than the plan. Because, okay, why did I say that? He goes to meet his brother for a loan. His brother tells him he's right on time. He wants to go rob a bank. Rob a bank, how? I just came here for a loan, you're telling me about robbing a bank. He tells him about the money. Yes, there's so much money in it for us, but what is the plan? What is the game plan? So it was messy, and it was clear that the cops were waiting for them because it was a sort of sting operation that was going to happen. So they were tracking a New York crew who now happened to come join with Jake's crew. And here's the thing, I like Jake Gyllenhaal as an actor. I don't know if you guys have seen Source Code yet. If you haven't, even though that movie is I think over a decade old now, watch Source Code. That's a movie you will absolutely enjoy. I guarantee it. We had not started GVN then, but then I'm telling you, if I'm going to rate Source Code, I'll give it a 10 over 10 right now. So you guys should watch Source Code so that you will know. Jake Gyllenhaal is just someone. I mean, if you've seen Southpaw, if you've seen Prince of Persia, there are a couple of really nice movies that he's done that I love. So when I see Jake, he's one of those guys that I just want to watch a movie he's in. And I like Yahya too. Yahya has done really well. His career is not as big as Jake's yet, but there are stuff he's done that I like. There are stuff he's done I don't like at all. Like The Matrix Resurrections, this new one, that movie sucked. I did not like it. Him in it, he's the new Morpheus. So here, there is all of that, right? But Ambulance as a movie on its own is one that had a lot of action. It had a lot of stuff to deliver in the action department and the explosion department. But it lacked substance. It lacked the proper story. It's not like I had expectations for this movie, but no offense, honestly, absolutely no offense to Michael Bay and his team, but it was a case of, is that some people don't just outgrow a particular phase, because this man sort of has been directing the same way since I was much younger, and even till now, it still seems to be. Now, I get that there will always be directors like him because there is a market for it. That's understandable. I mean, it's the same reason why you would watch Fast and Furious now, and you know that I'm not expecting realism or a proper story. I'm just expecting bombastic action and Vin Diesel using stuff with family. I don't have trucks, I have family.
I don't have friends. I got family.
Whatever it is, as long as it's family. That's what we expect in the new Fast X Part 1 coming out and even the Part 2 that will come out. That's the thing. So it falls in that category. It's not a story which, and funny enough, even though, if I'm going to compare it to the Fast franchise, Fast and Furious will try to sell you a story that is a load of rubbish, but then they are still trying to sell a story to you, right? In this case, there wasn't even a need, like they didn't even bother to explain anything. It was just more about the action than anything else. And yes, in the action department, it did deliver for the most part. It did. There was also, if you've seen the movie, there were also scenes that include a lot of aerial shots. So what was used is something called an FPV drone. For those of you that know about the old drone flying community, you probably know what this is, where the flyer, the pilot, wears the gear. So it's like a VR headset in a way, but then it's like you're flying in first person. So you are the eye of the drone. And it's very immersive, and you know the guy that flew it, I think, is like the top FPV drone pilot on earth. And I think that's something about Michael Bay. He said so himself. When he wants to shoot something, he often asks, what is the latest thing that I can use to just make this thing look crazy? And yes, he used an FPV drone in this one. And I'm going to say some of the shots that were done in this movie were shots that you could not do with, say, a crane or a helicopter or just, you know, the camera movements and all that, or maybe a rig on a car or something, and the drone accomplished that. So when it worked, it worked. It was so beautiful, so magnificent. But when it didn't work, it sucked. There were times when it will only be on screen for maybe 3 seconds, and then it feels sort of incomplete because it's now just a cut between that one and something on ground. It did not really work. And there was a time, at least I noticed one time, when there was a repeated shot, different sequence. So the first time was when the thieves themselves were coming out of a particular space. That same drone sequence was used. Second time, this time it was the police. That exact same drone sequence was used. So it was now looking like they were trying to sell it and not sell it. They were trying to say we have this cool shot. So at a point, for some of the scenes, it was looking like a very elaborate music video. You know, it's a music video, we get to see a lot of experimental shoots and a lot of experimental gears. That was what it was looking like to me. And while I'm not, like I said earlier, I'm not trying to bash Michael Bay, the movie is nice, right? But it's nice just for the sake of nice. It's not dope. You understand? There is no real substance in the story. Yaya's character, Will, tries to sell the human part with his family part, you know, what I mentioned earlier with his wife cancer, and they have a young baby. And yeah, it sort of works. And the fact that he's a military man, so he's not about taking lives. He just wants this money for his wife. Because there is a wounded policeman whom he mistakenly shot, whose life he's trying to save by giving blood. He's a universal donor. You know, there are all of these things that he's doing which sort of make his character more human. Elsa Gonzalez plays Cam Thompson, the EMT personnel who was like the center of all of this craziness that was happening. So there is all that happened, right? Our character also did a decent job playing the role which she was given. It wasn't like it was anything stellar, but it wasn't terrible. You know, and the introduction of the cartel guys just amped up the action with the Gatling gun attached to the car and all that. So one thing this movie would deliver on for you if you want is action. I would say, word of advice, if you've not seen the movie yet and you want to watch it, switch off your brain, go in. You will most likely have a good time. And that's it for this movie. It wasn't anything stellar. I mean, it's like I said earlier, I asked a question, so why was it made? I'm not going to say it was made as a money laundering scheme, no, but it was just made for maybe the sake of bombastic action. Both Jake and Yahaya have done better things than this, because Yahaya, I think where I really remembered seeing Yahaya was in the Watchmen series. If you've not seen that, you should watch it. He rocks that role. Like, he rocks because he plays the role of Dr. Manhattan. He murders it. He did such a really good job in that series. So that's it about the movie. It did not suck too badly, but it wasn't great by any means. In my opinion, it was really good for the action, but I've even seen better action. That's the thing. So they did deliver on some one or two things. Overall, what am I going to rate this movie? It gets a 4/10. Is there a movie I'll probably ever say again? They say never, so yeah, maybe I'll say it somewhere for some reason, but then I will not like go out of my way and say, oh, I'm bored, I want to watch something I've seen before and it's going to be Ambulance. Nah, that's not going to happen. So yeah, that's it for this review. It gets a 4/10. If you like this review, feel free to check out this video or this video next to see some of our other dope reviews on the channel. It's been Tech for GVN. Peace.